For more on this story, let's go now to Kiev with France 24's James Andre. James, what came out of Macron's big diplomatic tour?
Well, what came out basically is that Vladimir Putin has accepted, according to the French president, to pause this military escalation. Basically, Vladimir Putin explained that he would not be behind any further escalation. This is what he said to Emmanuel Macron. And indeed, Emmanuel Macron seems to have laid the first building block of long and complex negotiations in order to reshape the whole of European defense accords and alliances in order to give Russia some of what it wants, and that is security at its borders. But indeed, Vladimir Putin was quite clear during that press conference. For him, it is NATO that has been pushing forwards toward Russia and not the opposite. So a lot of question marks there as to what Emmanuel Macron actually put on the table and where this will be leading, because what Emmanuel Macron also said is that this would be long and arduous negotiations that would require creativity, and that indeed these were new roads being opened in order to ensure stability. Now, on the other hand, another big important message was that Emmanuel Macron believes that there can be no peace on the eastern border of Ukraine, including the separatist regions of Luhansk and Donetsk, without implementing the Minsk Accords fully and completely. Now, Emmanuel Macron says that both leaders, both Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, and Vladimir Putin, are on board and committed to this process. But still, there again, there will be a lot of negotiations. We did see Volodymyr Zelensky during the press conference he had with Macron yesterday say that indeed he wanted to see some real commitment from Putin in the shape of potentially moving some of those troops that amassed along the border back.
Indeed, we're talking over 100,000 Russian troops there on the border of Ukraine. You're in Kiev. You've been talking to people there. What's the feeling like with this threat of escalation, of a possible invasion hanging over everyone's heads?
Well, funnily enough, life in Kiev appears pretty normal, and things are, actually quite normal, but you can feel that there is tension. You can feel it each time you turn the television on, for example, where you have stories about how people are prepping up, how bomb shelters are being stocked up by the authorities. There are some 4,500 here in Kiev alone, and there are dotted across the country. You can also see it with the fact that firearm sales are rising sharply. Also, for example, if you open one of the newspapers, yesterday, there was an article about what paperwork you need in order to exit the country with your car. People are also writing about what you should take with you if you have to leave your house. So very much a kind of tense atmosphere in people's, psyche, but still pretty normal on the ground. That's what I can tell you. Now, the other thing is indeed Vladimir Putin has committed to no further escalation with Emmanuel Macron, but what we are seeing is that what was already planned is taking place. There will be military drills on the other side of the border in Belarus. That's for the Russians, but the Ukrainians also are having big military maneuvers starting on the 10th of February. They will be testing the new Turkish drones they have received, as well as Washington and London anti-tank missiles that were sent by the UK and the US. So yes, there's a lot of military activity on both sides of these borders, and quite clearly a tense atmosphere.
James, thank you for that. France 24's James Andre reporting from Kiev. Thank you.